Trail Finder 3, and I've added tie-downs. Oh, thanks for watching, throw me a like and I'll catch you next time on, I'm just kidding. It's the Trail Finder 3. We spent a bit of time on this thing now. You may have noticed, well, I hope you did, because it's how we started. I've got a guy in here now, there's an interior. I took this one out of my Bruiser clone, and I've got another one coming that I'll put into that. But now I have an interior, and I'm pleased to report that it fits. As I said, we have the tie-downs as well on the tray, and we also have lights installed. Now I'm filming in the middle of the day here, so it's hard to see, you can see that though. I wish I had some of those kind of yellowy, warmer lights, but I've got the cold white ones, but that's what we've got. But what I've done underneath is actually more exciting than all of that. Well, it is kind of nice to have it looking better now. But what I've got going on underneath is actually better. Let's have a look at that. First of all, a breakage. We had a breakage. I'll explain that. As I was playing with the suspension, I was working on one of these bolts here, and when I flipped it around to put the shackles at the rear, I used one that was a little bit too long, and it pushed into the bracket onto which this steering assembly sits, and it just bent. RC4 drive, having the pot metal that it has, it bent. There was a hairline fracture, and I came back in the morning and it was clean off. So I had to fab up an aluminium bracket, which is what this L piece is here. It's not the best lighting, I'm sorry. There's an L piece there. I've removed the body posts for the bull bar that used to sit down here, and there's an aluminium bracket now that holds in the steering assembly. We've left the suspension in the front, but look at that. Look at how much slop there isn't. Those shackles aren't moving now because I've put washers between them. That's all I did. One washer on each side, and there's no slop. So now when I try and move it, that's gone. I also swapped the servo horn. I've got a video I made about it, but in fact I'll show you that video now, and then we'll come back to this because then you'll understand what I mean. That's the shaft through which the steering mechanism passes, and this is the brass sheath, and your axle is inside. That's the bottom side, that's the top side. It's a 25 tooth servo horn for the top. This is the stock piece. Now what we needed was this brass sheath to be just a little bit longer, because right now it's recessed. Here's the photo, you can see it's recessed into that, and I need it to be a little bit taller so that I can tighten the other side, the triangular side, right down onto this and make it nice and snug. So what I needed was a servo horn that wasn't as deep as this guy. So what we've got is, I've just found a plastic one, it's from a kit, I don't know what it is, but you need a 25 tooth, and it was more shallow, which means even tightened right up, I now have just slightly more length. So when we put this in here, there we go. Now the brass shim is closer to being parallel to the top, which means I can bolt down the other side tightly, and that will help get rid of the slop. You can see from that, I've swapped out the servo horn. There are actually 3 ways to do this. You can do what I did, find a lower servo horn. It's 25 tooth or 25 spline. You could take the RC4 drive aluminium one and just file it down maybe a millimeter or so. Or you could find a small enough washer that sits inside the spline of the servo horn. You put a washer inside it and stick it on the end of the steering rod so that it is bolted up higher. 3 different ways to do it. Bottom line, you need to get one of those 2 servo horns on the steering assembly further apart so that you can tighten them completely, because that was the problem before. You couldn't tighten them completely, or they'd bind on the housing, because the brass sleeve or shim inside, or the bushing rather, wasn't long enough. So it's a bit of an engineering fail there. Thankfully it's easily enough fixed. So now that we've got that tightened up, I've got precise steering. Goes all the way, I've set the endpoints, and there's no slop. I mean, no slop beyond what you get on any other truck. What that leaves us with is a truck that now has steering authority. You couldn't see, right now I'm working against the wood because the body's kind of not sitting straight. It previously would have gone like that, and that's it. Now we can actually hoik it across and it'll go. This isn't a super strong steering setup as it is, but it's a lot better now. Now we've got some precision.
And look at that, we got an interior. Oh, and I've fixed the suspension. So I said that in my video. I've removed the, what have we removed here? We've removed the middle piece in the front, and I've removed the small one in the rear. The front is now softer, like it already just sits lower, and it articulates nicely. The rear is firmer, it's still got some bounce on it, but I experimented and I found that removing the middle one in the front and the small leaf in the back has given us the best results. It's still not plush like you'd get with a coilover system, but it's nice. And the mounts, we've got a few things. It's a tool-free mount now. So this all adds up to a very pretty little truck that can now steer. We're in the wrong gear. There we go. Not only can this thing steer now, but it looks great doing it. It's still a class 1 truck, but this is now the TF3 that we hoped for. The running lights look brilliant, and the headlights are bright enough to light the thing up. I didn't put LEDs in the parkers, but I've stuck them in everything else, and they look good. I neglected to mention this in the review, but the mirrors, they had a reflective sticker sheet too. That was in the same container as the little springs and these tie-downs, and I've glued these in with ABS cement. Made a bit of a mess of that one, but that's alright. So, now, really, the Trail Finder 3 is how you would have hoped it would be from the factory, and it was easy to do. So washers on your front shackles, lengthen the adapter on the steering thing, so use a different arm or put a washer in or something just to get those apart so you can tighten it right up. You glue in the little bits and pieces, 15 or 20 bucks for an interior and a driver. I've added lights here as well. They're just running straight off the receiver like I said in that little video, and you're away. You've got a pretty truck. The Trail Finder 3 is now what I would have liked it to be from factory. And I certainly can't criticize them for the lack of interior, given it's cheap and easy to add. It'd be nice. I wish I had wheel wells still, but that's all right. The decals look great. The tie-downs look great. It's just really the suspension and the steering. We've fixed that now, and it's happy days. Stay tuned. We're going to do a hard body roundup. We'll throw the 2 Trail Finders, the RC Run 180, maybe the BRX01 as well. We'll throw them together onto some courses and see how they go. Yeah. That's what we're going to do. But for a scale rig, I really like it. And hopefully you do too. Throw me a like, and I will catch you next time on RC-TNT.